Hey everybody, welcome to this video. It's Abby Johnson with Matterhorn Business Development. I am so excited because today I'm joined by my client, Justin Francis of Cornerstone Lawn Care. So let's just get right into it. I want to talk about Justin's journey with Profit First because we've had some great success over there. So first of all, Justin, talk a little bit about Cornerstone, where you guys are located for anyone who doesn't know.
Sure. So we own a landscaping business, Cornerstone. We service the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. We've been in business for about 15 years now. I started when I was 19 years old, mowing lawns for my neighbor. We've got about 26 employees now. We service about 3 to 5,000 clients in the Tri-County area, about an hour and a half from Washington, D.C.
Awesome. And then you also have a couple different prongs to your business as well, additional income streams. So talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So we're a little bit a hybrid, if you will. We've kind of diversified our business model in such a way. So we own a landscaping business, like I said, but we've also kind of turned the pie a little bit and opened a retail outlet. We call it the Landscape Supply. And it is the part of our business that allows us to sell the same products that we use for our customers. We can sell those products to end users as well, whether it's another contractor or resident customer, consumer in the area. We do a lot of retail product, mulch, stone, power equipment, everything that we use. We also sell to customers as well. And then we have an outdoor power equipment business that allows us to sell lawn mowers and large agricultural equipment. It's allowed us to stay a little bit uniquely diverse in the industry. So if we can't
Mm,
mow the lawn for you, we can provide you an opportunity to buy a lawnmower. So
nice.
every customer that comes in, we want to be able to do something for them in some form or facet.
Awesome. So then let's rewind a little bit. We first met at the end of 2023. So I don't know if you remember, but talk me through a little bit the state of Cornerstone, why you guys originally reached out when we met.
Sure. Okay. So without getting long-winded, I am a Audible reader. I read the book Profit First twice. The first time I read it, I thought it was a hoax. Just this idea that was absolutely impossible for me to understand. Profit first and then business. And as a young entrepreneur, my initial goal was drive revenue. For whatever reason, my success definition was top line revenue. We would just
Hmm.
grow to grow. Everything we could take, we were going to take. But we got to a point where our business was 3 million plus in revenue and the profit at the bottom, which what we thought was profit wasn't because we didn't actually implement a business strategy where we could intentionally set aside profit. We would just do universal banking. We would look at our bank account and we make decisions based on what that number made us feel that day. So if I had 100 grand in the bank, we were good. It didn't matter what was coming or what was coming next. We would go make purchases based on that. So I read the Profit First book twice. First time to get my head wrapped around it. The second time is what sold me. And we were growing at a pretty significant pace in our area, but I would get to the end of the year and I remember thinking to myself, please let there be profit at the bottom of our P&L statement because everything that was going on looked good, but we were running a business that wasn't profitable. And then we started looking for a solution and we read the book and I went to our CFO and I said, listen, I think we should consider profit first. And I had her read the book and then we said, you know what, we're going to have to find somebody who can help us implement and integrate this into our business so we can develop the discipline and accountability. So that's when we found Abby and the Matterhorn. And we came to Abby with our hat in our hand and said, hey, we've got a business. We're good at making money. We're just not good at being profitable. So we started, that's what's been 2 years ago now. And we had no money. I mean, we were hand to mouth. And outside looking in, we were a large business, but internally, we didn't have the system. So
Hmm.
we started the profit first journey. I remember intentionally setting aside a little bit of profit every time we would make an allocation. So the very first year we were operating and we learned that our business was operating at an expense larger than our ability to create revenue. If we were making 3 million, we were spending 3 million and 20,000, and it was a humble pill to swallow that outside looking in, we were doing really great, but running a $3 million business and not having any profit was a shock to the system.
Unfortunately, it's a common problem, and that's obviously where Profit First came from. And a lot of people want to chase that top line.
Mhm.
And especially in your industry, 3 million is quite a feat. I don't think there are a lot of lawn care services doing 3 million, but I would argue, and you can tell me, 3 million with no profit is probably more stressful
Mm.
than 500,000 with profit. Would you say so?
It really was. It really was. I never wanted to get to a point, and we were there, that we prayed to make payroll. And I think it was because we were just so captivated by the idea of growth. And we forgot that the principal reason behind starting a business was to produce profit. I mean, we don't want to continue to share time and not have something to celebrate at the end of it. I was working
Hmm.
a million hours a week, chasing top line revenue to say that we had a $3 million business, but the real value was on the bottom of the P&L, not the top. That was the beginning of our journey into the profit first world. And I can't tell you 2 years later how exciting it is to know that we're going into the winter. We have an account, we call it the Ant Stash. And that's something we're very proud of. We've never entered the winter season knowing that if nothing happened for the next 2 months, we have enough money set aside to pay our payroll and keep our staff on, which is just amazing. But what we learned from Profit First more than anything was it was a muscle that we have to develop. It's really hard when you know that you have bills coming in, but you put money in a separate account that says, hey, this is mine. And what we learned very quickly was that we went at the business with a knife and we started looking at things like, do we really need this? Do we have to have new? Can we go use? Do we have to finance it? Do we need to finance these things? And over the last 2 years, we went from a 1% profit set aside. We're at about 4% profit set aside now. I'm really excited every quarter as we now get to see quarterly profit distributions. I think we're going to finish around 300,000 this year in profit. In the landscape industry, a double-digit profit margin is a feat in of itself. So anybody who
Hmm.
understands where I'm coming from in my industry, in this business, a 10% margin in what we're doing is so dramatic from the negative we were operating at 2 years ago. So absolutely, it's something absolutely considered, but you must have the discipline to do it.
Yes.
You must stay the course. Our CFO, her name is Sherry. She is absolutely wonderful. And she is the reason that we were successful in Profit First because I learned quickly on that my heart is to grow. I'm the entrepreneur. I'm the leader. Cast the vision, grow, grow, grow. She's the one who's like, let's make sure that we're protecting the finances. She's done such a fantastic job. I brought the Profit First book into our core team and I said, guys, look, I know this is going to sound silly, but we're not running a profitable business. And I heard the saying, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? So
Yes.
for $3 million worth of squeeze, there's no juice. It's worth the squeeze now. And it's encouraging, and there's money there, and it's worth the fight to continue to persevere and move on with these things. But implementing the profit first system, stay the course. I remember Abby actually had said to us, if this was a little boat, we could turn it quickly. But
Hmm.
we get a $3 million boat to turn, and it was kind of like it felt like the Titanic. So it's been
Hmm.
a nearly 2 year journey. We're headed 180 degrees in the right direction now, whereas we were headed towards complete implosion. So yeah.
And we missed the iceberg. We turned before hitting the iceberg,
Yes.
importantly.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Abby, it was scary. I mean, there were days where we were praying for the next deposit, and Sherry would call
Yeah.
him, hey, Justin, payroll's tight. And we were living on faith and fumes at the time, but now we're running a business that's a lot more intimately aware of our finances. Thanks to the profit first business model, it saved our business. It saved our business. I'd say that confidently.
Wow, that's great. I'm so happy for you guys. And you are so right about implementation. You guys have done such a good job at really committing to it and not going halfway, but going all the way. And I think one thing that people get nervous about is getting their team on board with this
Mm.
and sharing numbers with their team. We discussed that in the beginning of, should you be telling the team the profit? And now, Sherry sends out, is it her weekly?
Yeah, yeah.
Financial flashes, like the whole team knows what's going on. So, can you talk a little bit about making that shift to bringing the team on board and sharing numbers openly with them and how that has gone and how that has been as a almost team building exercise?
Yeah, sure. So from the top down, if you knew me at a local level, I think everybody thinks that Justin swims in money. And $3 million, he must have money, right? What they didn't realize what was behind the curtain was we had a $3 million business and no profit. And because we were just dumping everything back in the business, just growing but unstructured growth. So we brought on some of our core team members. We call them the executive team. And these are the people that bleed for our business. These are the ones
Mhm.
that work well beyond what they earn. And I knew that I owed it to them to be honest with them because what they saw was top line revenue. They have access to our CRMs. They know what revenue we're generating. They didn't
Mhm.
know what was at the bottom. And we went into a meeting and I said, guys, we have really two decisions at this point. One, we close our business, or two, we grab this thing and hold on tight because it's going to take some time to turn this boat around. But here's what I can tell you. Here's our current finances, and there's no path forward for anybody to be successful here. But if we do this and implement it reasonably well, in good time, there will be fruit that we can share. So I committed to them. I said, look, if we can adhere to this system, I'm going to show you all the numbers. We call it how the hot dog's made. I'm going to show you how the hot dog's made. And at the end of each quarter, we're going to be able to share in those profits together. And I will tell you, without trying not to get emotional, it is my favorite time of the year is to go hand out profit distribution checks because I watch these people bleed and I watched how much we were going in the wrong direction, and they were just doing it faithfully without really understanding it. And
Mhm.
now we get weekly, we call them financial flash reports, like you said, from Sherry, our CFO, and she tells us what's coming in, what's going out, kind of what she sees ahead. And it allows us to kind of keep a more realistic dashboard of what's going on a week to week basis. At $3 million, there's a lot of money moving in and out of the business quickly. We were driving the business emotionally. We weren't driving the business from an actual financial metrics and dashboard. And all of our core team really pulled together. We had some hard conversations with customers and vendors and who we were going to pay. We were honest. We said, look, we're going to implement this business model. And we may not be able to pay you as quickly as we have before, or we may not be able to pay you for a little while because these are the things that we need to restructure. And we had really good relationships with a lot of our customers and vendors, et cetera. And they were all so good to us. They're like,
Mhm.
thank you for being honest, not trying to play it like you got everything. We didn't, and we were honest. We built a
Mhm.
really big job. We never built a big business. Now we have a big business. Our team can manage it. They are very keenly aware of the pulse of our business on a weekly basis. And we're able to make educated decisions, whereas before we were making emotional decisions. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference when everyone actually knows the score, right? Everyone can see the scoreboard.
They were. And interestingly enough, they would get a lot more offended when they realized how difficult things were. They're like, no,
Yeah.
he has money. Everything's fine. It's a big business. But then Sherry'd be like, hey, we made 50,000 this week and spent 60. And they'd be like, what? And they'd get frustrated, not, because all they know is big dollar amounts. They don't understand
Right.
like they do now, what that looks like and how and what that feels like, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
they've become owners. They have skin in the game now, and we all celebrate in the profit together, which is wonderful.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, I'm sure we could talk forever. You guys have done such a great job implementing and have so many successful things you've done to turn things around. But I want to end with if someone was considering working with Matterhorn and they're on the fence about it, what would you say to them?
I will tell you, the principle behind profit first makes sense. They do a really great job at presenting the fundamentals of how to do it. And realistically, I first had thought, why do I need to have somebody help me implement this? You put money in each of these buckets every week and we keep a spreadsheet. It sounds easy. I knew that we had to hire Matterhorn because I needed to make sure somebody held us accountable for it. When I threw my hat over the fence and said, okay, now's the time for us to commit, Abby's going to see behind the curtain. She's going to understand whether or not just on our side, because we came when we had no money and committing to hiring a firm to tell us how to manage these things and look at all of our finances at an intimate level. It was hard. I got to tell you, trying to implement profit first without Matterhorn, we would not be sitting here having this conversation.
Wow.
Because there were many times where if you've ever flown in a plane and gone through turbulence, what we wanted to do is reach over and grab that money we had set aside over here and put it back in the
Hmm.
business just to slow the turbulence down.
Hmm.
Because we were going through that part where things were uncomfortable and we're like, we have money over here, we can make this problem go away. But we didn't. And having your guidance and Matterhorn's guidance as far as stay the course, do the hard things, this is not a day one change. And I remember
Hmm.
thinking nearly 2 years ago now, I can't wait to see what this is going to look like in 2 years. So I
Hmm.
absolutely would encourage anybody who's considering implementing the profit first, absolutely consider Abby, and you guys are just absolutely wonderful. I look forward to our quarterly meetings every time we talk because now I'm not embarrassed to talk to you. I was embarrassed to talk to you in the beginning because I'm like, well, Abby's going to be so proud of what we're doing. This is good. So do it. Sign up, make the commitment, do the hard part, and just know that it takes some time to turn the boat around if you're in a position where
Hmm.
you're running a non-profitable business. Not to mention the amount of energy and cultural shift it's made inside of our business now that our team all knows A, how the hot dog's made, and B, that it's a profitable business.
Hmm.
Nobody's got to fear for their job. They know that payroll's going to clear every week and that we're all intimately aware of our finances. It's
Hmm.
absolutely consider doing it.
That's awesome. Well, Justin, I'm so proud of you and your team, and I'm so happy that we get to keep doing our check-ins and making sure the boat is still on course.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for being here
Yeah,
today so
yeah,
much.
thanks for
Thank
the
you so
invite.
much. And then for anyone who's interested, we do a free profit assessment that you can book below, and someone on our team will take a look at your numbers. You don't have to be embarrassed. I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Justin is not the worst that I have seen. I've seen even worse. So there's no need to be embarrassed, but you can get a free profit assessment, find the first profit leaks to handle, and we can help you come up with a plan. So click below to book that. And
Awesome.
otherwise, I will see you all in the next video, and I will be seeing Justin next week for a check-in.
Yes, yes. Thanks again, Abby. It was great.